Welcome back, Bottle Killers. This is another episode of Bottle Kill TV. Last day of the English Premier League season. So we're heading to the pub after this to watch Jurgen Klopp's final game for Liverpool. So I've got my LFC t-shirt on. It's very emotional today. I think I could get very emotional during this review. Today we have, if you didn't know, of course, as always, this is Bottle Kill TV. I'm your host, Michael Roche. And as always, we have the often imitated, but never, ever duplicated. It's the real Bottle Killer, ladies and gentlemen.
How are we doing, people? Thank you for joining us.
How the hell are you today?
Doing good, yeah, exciting, like you say. Big day ahead of us, lots to look forward to. So we'll see what happens. What are you saying? What do you think?
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. It's a sad day. It's a sad time. It really feels like the end of an era, and it's kind of. I'm getting worked up just thinking about it. I don't want to cry on a podcast.
I feel like I should have brought like the Andrex. Bring some tissues here.
Yeah, we might need them. But let's move on. And actually, but saying that Jurgen Klopp is, he's been at Liverpool since 2005. He came in with this great line. It's not how you don't judge somebody how they arrive. You judge somebody how they leave.
Interesting.
And to have said that in your first press conference and to be leaving a hero, a true sort of pillar of Liverpool and the community, and just what a guy. And I was thinking of, if you were to say like which. If you were to match up like which managers remind you of whiskey distilleries, if we make that really tenuous link, since like we are a whiskey channel and
taking bits or no bits too far again,
and not Mark Goldbridge. But shout out to Redmen TV, great last interview you did with Jurgen Klopp. I say Jurgen Klopp is most like Springbank.
Yep.
And the reason I say that is Springbank is known for a distillery which is just it's known as one of the most authentic distilleries. And nowadays there's a lot of people that are going to try and imitate Springbank, but they were the ones that never modernized the distillery. They kept it old school. They kept doing things the right way. And like Jurgen Klopp, Jurgen Klopp has a philosophy of how football should be played, how he wants to win games. He had Pep Guardiola parking the bus in February, right? Pep was like, "Oh, you're a defender now. Oh, you're parking the bus now." That's who Klopp is. He just has one philosophy. He goes into every game to win it, and sometimes he gets the results. And he may not have been the most successful manager in the last 9 years. Pep Guardiola's probably got double the trophies.
Yeah.
But he did win everything.
Yeah.
And I think he has the respect. And it's kind of like Springbank. They may never be big as a Macallan. Would you say Pep is like a Macallan?
I think so, yeah, isn't it? It's like, it's the prestige, that's like kind of the pinnacle of kind of luxury whiskey is Macallan, plus it's the money. It's just like, it's such a huge a huge distillery, production wise, prestige wise. So I think if you were comparing Pep to any distillery, you'd have to go with Macallan.
Yeah, and if you even look at like the Macallan distillery itself, it's like something from the future, isn't it? It's like Pep's got very good style.
Yeah, it is.
He's always pristine. Klopp is a little bit like, his hair can be everywhere. Yeah. His like big teeth are like growling at people. Like, he's not always the most elegant person, because he's about intensity. And it's kind of like Springbank. It's kind of like it's not the, you go there. It's a bit like going back in time. In terms of looking at the distillery, it's a small site, but everything is done on site, which is why it's considered one of the most authentic, and it has such respect. And we'll obviously go to see how that does in terms of the taste of the whiskey. But also with Macallan, what I think is there's a few holes that you can pick up on Macallan, right? They may have like this big tag of like they're the most prestigious, but you can look at them and say, is it? There's some questions, just like there's some questions about Manchester City, namely the 115 charges.
Yeah,
they haven't answered yet, right? Some of the things where when a Klopp team has really put it on Man City, they kind of fold. There's been lots of those times. They lead off intimidation, don't they? But as you can tell, I'm a Liverpool fan rather than a Man City fan. But anyway, enough of this crap. Let's get into the drams. Tell me yours, because I know Springbank is actually one of your favorites, and like we said about the Lagavulin a couple of weeks ago, it's kind of one of your early loves, early discoveries. Springbank seems to be one of those as well, because it's one of the, on our first trip that you arranged to Scotland, Springbank was the first one you took us to.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting. Like, I'm not quite sure how I came across Springbank. I think I'd always been a fan of Campbeltown whiskey. And I remember the Glen Scotia double cask winning, one of whatever award it was back in the day, like world's best whiskey from whoever decides those things. So I was kind of like, Campbeltown was on my radar, and I came across it, and I'd say you're probably going back maybe 6 years now, round about kind of like COVID times. And at the time, it was difficult to come by, you know, because one of the things with Springbank is, it's got incredible popularity at the moment. Really? A lot of people are aware of it now, and it's made in quite small batches. So these things, they go on sale. I think this is a fresh bottle of the Springbank 10 that we've poured for today, and it's rare that you see this stuff. I think I picked it up when I was in London at the Whisky Exchange, and it was on the shelf. I was like, you see Springbank in the wild, you've got to get it. Do
you remember last time I saw it in the wild?
Oh, yeah. Why don't you tell the viewers about this?
So on the last time we went to Scotland, we stayed on the Royal Mile, and they have a Cadenheads shop, which they must have the same parent company, I think, Cadenheads and Springbank, the Glengoyle Group, or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
there's always Hazelburn, Springbank, and it was so I bought first Springbank in the wild I've ever seen. It was like seeing a Pokemon. It's like Pikachu, It was like I was like had to grab it straight away. But we were a little bit drunk on the train home, and we had a bit of a boozy trip on the way home, and I was walking up and down the carriage, and with everyone with their dram glasses and filling up everyone glasses with Springbank 10. So I thought I was being a good host on the train carriage. So yeah, I emptied that bottle of 10-year-old very quickly, and never to be seen again. So yeah, let's go from there.
Dishing out the good stuff on the train. So yeah, I think back then it was easier to kind of get your hands on a bottle, and I tried the 10-year-old, the 15, the 18-year-old. They do a 12-year-old cask strength, which the batches vary. So, but some of the ones that I had back then, they were just incredible. Like, and I think what I love so much about it is it's got things that no other whiskey has. It's got like real unique flavors. People often refer to it as this funk, Campbeltown funk or Dunwich funk. And so
it's like Bruno Mars song.
It's no, that's Uptown Funk.
Campbeltown Funk, gonna give it to you. Friday night, we're in the spot.
But yeah, there's just something like unique to it. As you'll kind of nose it, you'll probably pick that up.
It's unbelievable.
Kind of that farmyardy, not like, I don't want to say cheesy. I think that's the wrong way to describe it. But it's just got that like weird edge, like no other whiskey really has. And this is incredible. So the 10-year-old, it's bottled at 46%. And typically this is a mix of bourbon and sherry casks. And you do get that. Like you get a lot of bourbon coming through with this one. I know the batches vary, so I'm not too sure this was the one that was released July 2023. Not sure exactly what the cask makeup, the split is between the bourbon and sherry casks on this one. But you get both, right? I think it's got that real.
It's got such a richness. It's got the richness that you get from a sherry cask.
Yeah.
But it's just got this incredible like malty complexity.
Yeah, I get a lot of. I think it's like a really fresh nose. Kind of fresh, grassy, but then it really is underpinned by those like sweet kind of stewed fruits coming through from the sherry.
Apple strudel.
Yeah.
This is like I just like put it down. I'm done. It's like you've had an experience just with the smell, right? It's kind of like it's kind of like we talked about the Old Pulteney on the Old Pulteney episode, and where that takes you to. This again, it transports you
back to Campbeltown.
Well, Campbeltown's very rustic in a way, isn't it? Whereas this takes me more of like a freshie. It's more fresher than. It takes me like you're on a little, like the little bridge and the river runs through it. in Campbeltown. It's kind of like you're on that ridge looking at the river and looking at the rocks go by.
The bay, yeah. This as well, it's lightly peated, so there is a bit of smoke there coming through, certainly on the palate and in the finish. I get like citrus fruits coming through on the palate, lots of spices. As I say, the smoke and that unquestionable kind of like Springbank funkiness. I think this, for me, I'd struggle to think of a better 10-year-old age. It
doesn't feel 10 years old.
No.
Did they put any older stuff in this? Do you know, or do you think it's just the way that they make it, and they do everything a little bit slower in the fermentation and all that sort of jazz? That they.
It is possible. I think people have kind of mooted that the way that Springbank rose and developed such a cult following was that they were putting some of the older casks in some of the the younger age statements. So there is a possibility, yeah.
A little sneaky one.
Couldn't rule it out. Like Liverpool's goal against Tottenham. Oh no, I've set him off.
It should have had more trophies. It should have had more. Should have had 97 points and came second.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow,
especially for such a nice guy. But he said something great the other day, which I think is a good lesson for life, which is I couldn't have tried any harder. And it's not about you can talk about the results, you can talk about all of that stuff, but I'm so happy with how much I put into it and how much I tried. And I think that's the same with even if Springbank can never get to a Macallan level because they just can't make enough of the stuff. Macallan is kind of like they go to their boardroom and it's like, oh, look at the growth this year, look at the profit this year. We sold we even sold one bottle to some fella in like East Asia
for like 2.5 million quid.
2.5 million for one bottle. Aren't we smart? Whereas Springbank, they're like they can never. They it's not based on that. It's based on effort.
Yeah,
it's based on like the process and the result. The result that's came where for so many people, I should say, they're so evangelical about Springbank that they just can't keep it in stock.
Yeah.
You just can't find this stuff easily anymore in the wild. Like you said, it's like a rare Pokemon. It's because they care about that. They do it for the love of the game. They have a philosophy and they go with it. And so it just comes through. It's just so incredible. And one of my biggest bums when I look back was we went to the distillery just before it became uber popular.
Yeah, it was COVID when we were there, wasn't it?
So and I've heard that sometimes they release stuff in the shop and it sells out by 10 a.m.
Yeah,
and we were there; it's full. Because it was during COVID.
Yeah,
that's so much there.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, okay, yeah, obviously COVID, not many people were going. I think it had only just opened back up, but even then,
yeah, because they didn't do tastings because they gave us loads of little minis because they weren't even doing tastings yet, but they just did the tour.
But you're talking that was 2018, 2019, and like where Springbank is now today is, like you say, bottles go on sale, they're sold out, people queuing outside the shop. But I think just to go back to your last point, I think Klopp is like a man of the people. Do you know what I mean? Like in Liverpool, it's not uncommon for like to bump into him having a pint, and he'll just chat to like the local people. And I think it's that kind of like Springbank is like
the normal one,
whiskey of the people. Do you know what I mean? Not yeah, no Mourinho's.
What is Mourinho? What distillery would Mourinho be?
Mourinho, it's a difficult one to call. I think because he's got the attitude and the edge, hasn't he?
He'll do anything for an edge, Mourinho. But he delivers, and I do like Mourinho. He has a lot of character. What would you go for? He has a unique character as well.
Yeah, I think he's still a manager that has achieved an incredible amount, right? And he's spent a long time at the very top of his game. I'd say like Glenlivet or Glenfiddich. I think Glenfiddich, it's got a lot of prestige. It's huge. It's got that volume, that popularity. And obviously, like some of the older kind of stuff that they're doing is you're in that kind of luxury category.
But is it unmistakable? Because the Jose Mourinho team is unmistakable.
It's difficult, you know. I'm not sure that there's any John Terrys in the Glenfiddich range, but
we won't go there. We won't go there. I don't even know where you're going with that, but this could be another Philip Schofield moment.
Don't do it, bottle killer. Don't do it.
And that even the finish is way beyond 10 years old. Like. You know, we're gonna do a bit of a Campbeltown series this week. We've got a Glen Scotia 25 coming up, and it's going to be really interesting because that's so much older than 10 years old. The way it goes from the taste and the finish, it'll be really interesting to see how the comparison. See if I can put what age it feels on the tongue, because it could be anywhere like an 18, 20, 21-year-old. It's just that smooth.
I love it. It kind of finishes. As you know, on the back end of the palate, it's got this lovely honeyed kind of fruity sweetness, and then once you've swallowed it, that kind of nice little bit of peat smoke comes through in the finish, a bit of spice. Honestly, like I'd struggle to pick out a better 10-year-old age statement than Springbank 10-year-old.
It's incredible, but the problem is going to be, and I'm not very big on whiskey release schedules, and when they schedule this, we went to Scotland in November when I saw it on the shelf in Cadenheads. I went to Cadenheads recently in April, in London. They had Longrow. They didn't have they had no Springbank. I didn't ask because it was I didn't want to look stupid, but I knew what the answer would be. But so there must be, and like I think the Hazelburn must come around August time, and so I don't know if they have a yearly release of this and it comes out by August, September, October. That's when you start to look in the wild for these things.
They're generally pretty scheduled,
So just I know it's an obvious question, but is it a buy?
Oh, absolute buy. If you see it, you just have to buy it. You'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, it's just absolutely it's just an absolutely one of the best. And I've actually got a about that much left from the train bottle. You know, just a little bit left. So Klopp goes out with a win today. I might go home after the pub and just put on Adam Levine, memories. The drinks bring back all the memories. Put on the Liverpool Barcelona 4-0 and just cry myself with the end of the bottle of Springbank.
It's gonna be okay.
Reminisce.
It's gonna be okay.
Reminisce on good times. So there we have it. Another totally irreverent whiskey review for you. I hope in some way you found it entertaining. And if you have no idea what football or soccer is, then I don't know what to say. Bottle killer, take him out.
Okay, well, yeah, I have had a good time. I hope you all had a good time. Something a little bit different today. Michael, did you have a good time?
It's just been emotional, but it's been a good time.
It's Jurgen again, isn't it? Don't worry, we'll get you through it. We've got plenty more coming up, as I say. More Campbeltown whiskey. We're going to be looking at the Glen Scotia Campbeltown Malts Festival release, and also the Glen Scotia 25-year-old, which is an absolutely incredible whiskey. You do not want to miss that one. So you know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button. Come back next time, and we'll see you again on Bottle Kill TV.